it's opal time. I bought a stack of opals from a gentleman out at the coast. They are Mexican fire opals. They're beautiful, and some of them were finished in cab form, and some of them were not. They came in a jar in water, and so it is true that if you dry the opals too quickly, they will craze. So opals, I think it's what, 20% of the opal body is made of water, and so when the water extracts itself from the opal and it dries out and it dries too quickly, they will craze. Well, what is crazing? Crazing is cracking. Crazing is... Ugh. Let's see here. Can you see that? Focus. Focus. Ugh. There we go. You can see a little bit of the crazing in that, but I'll show it a little bit better on a different video. I've got a stack here that need to be cut because they were crazed. And so these opals were dried. They were dried, although a little too quickly, thanks to me. But several of them, about 60% of them, didn't craze at all. The others had crazing, and so part of me wonders if this crazing had been something already there. Of course, when they're in a jar, it's super hard to pick them apart and to tell which ones are crazed, which ones are not. I knew that a few were to begin with. So I do have this big bad beauty right here, big old opal. That one I probably won't cut today. I'm just going to chase some of the crazes, and I will video that one when I do it, out of these. And so some of them are large enough to chase the crazes out of, which means I'm going to try to cut along the craze line and create two opals that are not crazed. So I hate craze lines. It is a crack in the opal. Is it detrimental to the opal? If the craze doesn't begin and end, the opal's okay structurally. I know that some people are going to look at this and be like, no, it's not. It's not structurally okay. And then some will be like, yes, it is. The opal will last in jewelry if it's got a craze at one end and not an ending craze at the other. So the crazes will eventually meet at some point. Sometimes it's caused by drying too quickly. Sometimes it's caused by the initial digging. When they dig that stuff out of there, sometimes they're not very nice with it, and they just kind of like axe pick that crap out. And then other times it's actually just caused from the earth, from pressure in the earth. So after it's been formed, there's a lot of weight on these opals. And so opals are not a tough material. They're a pretty, soft material when it comes right down to it. And so if you were showering with your opals on, don't. That is the worst thing you can do, is introduce it to water and then dry it. Introduce it to water and then dry it. I had a friend next door who wears an opal 24/7 around her neck. It's small, probably as small as this little guy, right? Like an opal like him. She showers with it, and she brought it over, and she was like, why is this thing cloudy? Like, why can't I see any color anymore? It had filled with water, and it was an Ethiopian opal. Those opals will cloud up, especially if introduced to water. Not all of them will. I'm not saying that's 100% true for all of them. Some of them will cloud up when introduced to water. Those are one of the most absorbent opals that I've ever worked with. So, fire opals. As I said, I've got several of them here. I'm going to chase the crazes out, and I'll kind of explain as I'm cutting them. I am using a very thin blade. And by no means am I a professional opal cutter. I cut opals. I've been doing cutting stones for about 10 years, and I've been cutting opals for about 7. This is no, it's all wet. The blade that I use, pretty thin, 6-inch. I'll show that again. Got these off eBay for a couple of them for $40. That way I don't end up with a ton of excess material when I'm cutting, or I'm not, losing material or breaking the stones. You do have to go slower. These do cut slower, so we might as well start. There's a lot of sunshine coming in through these windows, and no, I do not have a curtain because there's tons of them. These are the Fire Opals. This is the big one that we won't be doing today. Some of these have large crazing, some of them have small crazing. This one right here, let's zoom in. This one right here has a lot of crazing. You can see that crazing, okay? So this particular opal, I may not be able to salvage. The craze lines go this way and this way and that way and that way. I don't know about this one in particular, but I had another one already chosen to show you. This opal is gorgeous. The color right there is just showing because the light is on it, just barely, but if you saw it in person, it's actually quite brilliant. So the craze line in this one starts here. It ends there. But if you look at the bottom, it starts on the bottom and runs along the bottom right next to this white area. And you can see the end tip of it right there. So I have the craze line kind of bumps in like this. What I want to do, because I want to salvage the majority of the body of this opal, I am going to cut this way. So straight across, and hopefully I will end up with a larger opal, not as large as this one, of course, but a larger opal on this side. So let's try this one first, and my machine is a little loud, but hey, for a cheap machine, it works good. And I have to see the craze line in order to cut this, because I want to cut it on the craze line if I can. Okay, I want to dry this puppy off. Because I don't want it to reabsorb. It will absorb water again. I have to get you guys down at an angle that you can see this too. I am not seeing any evidence of craze lines. I'm seeing hairs, but no more crazing. So now this opal, I will cap this and kind of make a teardrop opal. This little slice of the opal had the craze lines. So the craze lines right in underneath. I am not too sure what I will do with this guy. He still has some really cool color right up in here. So he will be kept and held onto as like side material. Okay, here's the next one. Beautiful little opal. You can see the craze already right there. So this opal crazed kind of crazily. So he crazed right there. And that is at an angle. So it goes through the opal right here and goes sideways. And I'm gonna have to get out a magnifying glass, because I don't see any craze lines beyond that. I do see one that looks to be like a craze line right here. know about this one. This is going to be a hard one to chase. Let's try another one, because this one, so to give you an idea, the craze line is here. It goes at an angle like that. But then when you look at this other side, it has another craze line that comes in at an angle. So the top of the opal has no crazing. It's the sides, and it goes down at an angle. And so quite honestly, for this opal here, I'll sell this at a significant discount because of the crazing. But somebody can put bracketing around this and still use this opal for jewelry, because the craze lines, I feel no variance in the stone with my nail. I just really would hate to chase the craze lines on this one and wind up with no opal left. I think this is the one that's really, really bad. He just has crazing all over him. And I can't zoom you guys in any further, or I would. Yeah, this guy was definitely, this is when they definitely get pressed. This is from the removal of the opal, probably, because of how many craze lines are in this. Let's look at this one real quick. So this one, I'm not seeing any craze lines. What did I see? I took all of these and, oh, I see, what do I see? Nope. He's a perfect little specimen. Check that out. I was expecting craze lines, but I'm not seeing anything in him. Let's look at the next one. Some of these do not have a fine polish on them. The capper, who I got these from, had probably stopped at some point, and I really have to wipe this one off to see the craze lines in this. I'm not seeing any craze lines actually in this one either. I'm seeing these cool like blood veins in it, but it does not have a high polish though. So this is one that I will not cut, and I will put a polish on. Now this booger, he's big enough to see the craze line all the way through to the top. But look at this. If I turn him sideways, the craze doesn't go through to the top. It's only on the bottom. So I think with this one, these shadows, these white shadows in here, if you turn it over, that is inclusion in the opal, so that's okay. But see that craze line that runs right there? You can see it. I'm going to cut right there and cut that out. Make it into 2 opals. You always want to try to cut on the inside of the craze line, or I guess on the outside. Hold on, I've got my shirt caught in this stupid stool that I'm using. Yep, I was able to get that craze line out. See the inclusion, the variance in the material, but I'm not seeing any more craze lines. So now we need to dry this puppy off. let him sit. And this is the second piece. Who knows? I might get a nice, really clear little opal out of that. We will find out. Okay, and now we're ready for... Alright, so on some of these opals, I got the craze out. So this one right here, this was the one that I just had to shade the side. It had a side, just a little chipped craze that had started and angled and came back the other way. I wish all of them were like that, where the crazing was just very minute and all I had to do was refashion the opal. There's a few more that need cutting and a lot that need polishing. So these were all done probably, I don't know, back in the 80s is what I'm guessing. They've been in a jar for several years. They were bought at an estate. And the jar had like a price tag of $100 on them. So that's how I know that they were probably done in the 80s. That and the pin marking was a little strange and it had been completely worn. They had been set in a closet, you know, away from prying eyes. All of these need a little bit of help. Not all of them were polished, and so I'll be polishing all of them. Some of these were craze, some of them just need a polish, so I'll be going through and taking care of that. And the ones that are craze that I can't salvage but have a good color, as in I can't cut the craze or chase the craze out. I like calling it chasing crazes. I don't know if anyone else does this. I'm a little particular about the opals that I cut. I hate selling opals with crazing in them, but I will sell opals with crazing. And one of the only reasons being is when it's a brilliant color and the opal has just crazed galore. And that's the only way of actually having that opal. At that point, I will advertise it. It's a majorly discounted rate. I mean, it's almost at the cost of turquoise at that point, like $1 a carat or whatever. And I will let the jeweler know, hey, it's crazed. You know, you need to put it in a necklace piece. Do not use it for a ring. Do not use it for a bracelet. Nothing that could come as a shock to the piece if it was worn. So anyway, that is it for opals for today. Have a good day.